While tariff uncertainty and elevated mortgage rates weigh on the housing market, we know artificial intelligence and robotics, they are transforming the real estate industry. VettaFi senior research analyst Zeno Mercer joins us now to discuss. Zeno, always great to see you.
Good to be back.
So let's start. Got a new report out. And basically, Zeno, you're walking people and your clients through this idea that AI and robotics, they're transforming the real estate industry. It's driving what you say is this real transformative evolution of the industry. Walk us through it, just high level.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so AI and robotics are, traditionally, robotics has been traditionally, people think of it as manufacturing and logistics, but it's going to be a lot more than that. It's already starting to be. AI, we already know, can drive efficiencies and connect the dots and improve, efficiency gains in a lot of places, but high level, if you break down like real estate, the use of real estate, and the use of really anything in the world, you're making things, you're moving things, you're manipulating things, or you're storing things. That's majority of GDP fits into that bucket. With real estate, if you think about it, AI and robotics are going to transform the entire life cycle of real estate. So you've got the design. So how are you building things? Where are you building things? And so there's a couple considerations there. So you're going to have AI and robotics used in housing, in mobility and transportation. You're going to see things like parking lots turn into parks as you see less need because we have autonomous vehicles that don't need to park. So there's a design element where AI and robotics or artificial intelligence will redesign how we're thinking about designing. So companies like Autodesk, players like that will have a huge play into just like that system of designing. And there's also the materials and energy designs that are going to come into play. So if we think about, we run on energy. The most advanced economies have higher utilization of energy. And so that's a big component of that is the energy efficiency. So now we're moving on to once we've built, or we have to design it, then we build it. Right now, robots have pretty low penetration into actually building things. It's still very physically manual labor intensive. You do have some fab construction where like they pre-make it and there's some 3D printing things, but on job sites, it's still very manual. And there's a lot of room, there's a lot of need to improve the efficiency here. We have labor shortages and we have unmet needs. We have housing crisis. I mean, people can't afford to live here. Or operating system really isn't functioning. We have a lot of debt. Like we can't really operate the way we're going. So we actually need to use more AI and robotics to improve that side of things. Next stage is actually operations. So AI will become the operating system of buildings. And so that's energy efficiency, that's improving the quality of life. Think about the aging population. A lot of them get sent to nursing homes, but like in reality, it's like, why can't more people live at home? So if you start to add AI, you have more energy efficiency, you have more robots that can accomplish more goals. That actually fundamentally shifts where people will be thinking about development of real estate because that'll change people's lives. And so it also goes into like data centers and other things. That energy management component is very, very important.
When you think about the real estate industry, though, it can be a highly regulated industry and sector. Does that pose any kind of challenges or obstacles to deploying and integrating this kind of next-gen tech you're talking about?
It's a huge opportunity because right now, let's back up to like Doge. Okay, I think we brought up Doge on the show before, but in this case, we're not trying to move fast and break things. We're trying to move fast and make things. And if we're doing that, AI can actually improve how we're validating and reduce the red tape speed, like the cycle. So, permits take too long. There's a lot of like opinions and local governments that are kind of getting in the way and stopping kind of NIMBY versus YIMBY. And so, AI can also be used on the flip side of the governance side of saying like, why do we have these regulations? Is this for safety, energy efficiency, and codify that? And so now these codes are, these laws can be codified and made easier. So we'll see faster uptick and reduce costs. And so developers will say like, oh, I'm more likely to be able to get this through the door faster. Here are the incentives. This is what I need to do. And so you can actually see improvements from that. But yeah, I mean, people will talk about energy consumption, and there are a lot of players that are trying to reduce that and make more efficient energy efficient buildings. So that should be a net positive. I don't think anyone's going to be against that. Was there anything in mind when you asked that question?
No, I was just wondering. I think of industries that can be slower to adopt new tech, or just punching through a lot of red tape can provide an obstacle. But let me leave you here. If you were listening to this and you were excited by this, what are smart ways to play it? Yeah,
I mean, I think. Like obviously you've got companies that are just building things, but right now we're seeing kind of this once in a lifetime, not a once in a lifetime, but like we're seeing a super cycle of AI technology getting embedded in the robotics, and that's at the individual robot level, in the way they interact with each other, and then the system control level. And so we're really bullish on robotics having a play into that. So not just from the design to the operations, but to actually being used more on the job site, more on the ongoing operations, just maintenance, just like making sure things are running and being observed. So you've got like drones, you've got things helping improve the real estate operations themselves. And of course, we have two strategies that I manage. We've got the robo and then think, so robotics and AI. And we think those are two separate but interconnected and increasingly a flywheel of how to play kind of that real. I mean, it's beyond real estate, but increasingly, AI and robotics will be used and thought as part of the design of real estate, not just for human environments, but for manufacturing and logistics and warehouses, but also data centers. There's been I think $1 trillion in CapEx announced in the last year for data centers themselves. So there's also environments just for AI and robotics too. And that's going to use a lot of the components and systems, like companies like Supermicro. They came out with Computex and NVIDIA. They announced their new liquid cooling system. 40% less energy cost, 20% lower CapEx, OpEx cost. And so when people talk about the fear of energy and AI skyrocketing energy costs, people, I think, are really missing the point that AI is going to solve its own energy cost. And I think that's a hot take, because I think people are more worried about the impact of energy consumption rather than where will AI offset energy consumption, not just from advancements in the data centers, like better AI algorithms, better hardware, better chips, but like what is the impact in the real world? And that's kind of goes back to the real estate conversation.
Yep. Zeno, big topic with a lot of investment applications. Thanks for bringing it to us. Appreciate it.
Yeah.